The left is losing its mind. They are losing it. And the reason that they are losing it more than anything else is they are not getting their way. And so immediately upon this story breaking, a crowd started to gather at the Supreme Court. They had to put barriers outside the Supreme Court. They put actual physical barriers outside the Supreme Court. People started pushing up. Remember that time when January 6th was a coup? Remember that time when it was a threat to the rule of law? What do you think it is when the entire media circulate an unreleased judicial opinion in an attempt to create public threats against Supreme Court justices? What exactly is that? What exactly is that? The head of the Justice Democrats, Brian Fallon. Justice Democrats are the folks who basically forced Justice Breyer into retirement so we could replace Justice Breyer with a person who can't find the word woman. Brian Fallon tweeted, "All Democrats need to show the same urgency as the clerk, who apparently risked his or her career to sound this alarm. Those on the inside know best how broken the institution is. We should listen." Right? It's hero work now to violate the law and release unreleased judicial opinions and leak them out. Ian Millhiser, the moron from Vox, he tweeted, "Seriously, shout out to whoever the hero was within the Supreme Court who said, F it, let's burn this place down." Don't worry, guys, it's all norms. It's norms all the way down for folks on the left. Total norms. Meanwhile, Democratic Senate candidates immediately began calling for massive federal legislation. They called to kill the filibuster, of course, because they're always calling to kill the filibuster, these advocates for the rule of law. So in Wisconsin, Senate candidate Tom Nelson said the Supreme Court has shown their hand. Senator Chuck Schumer has called a special session to blow up the filibuster and codify Roe now. First of all, not going to happen. Manchin and Sinema are not going to blow up the filibuster in order to pass a national law with regard to abortion. Good luck with that. Tim Ryan in Ohio did the same thing. He says overturning Roe versus Wade would be absolutely wrong, not to mention catastrophic for Ohio, where Republicans have passed one extreme and dangerous proposal after another to ban abortion before most people even know they're pregnant. I mean, ladies, find you a man who loves you like Democrats love the murder of the unborn. Seriously. I mean, they love it. They love it. Abortion is still going to be legal in blue states. This is a state issue. By the way, contraception is widely available and cheap. But these people, they want abortion so bad. Lieutenant Governor Mandela Barnes, candidate for the Senate in Wisconsin, also said, quote, "It has never been more clear why we need to abolish the filibuster and take immediate action to protect every person's right to make decisions about their own bodies, except for the child in the womb who makes no decision, simply has their brains sucked into a sink." So, yes, all of that is wonderful. Hillary Clinton, of course, jumped in and sounded off. She tweeted, "Not surprising, but still outrageous. This decision is a direct assault on the dignity, rights, and lives of women. You want an assault, a direct assault on a life? That's what abortion is. Dignity has nothing to do with it when you kill your preborn child. That is not if your dignity is preserved by the killing of your preborn child, let me just suggest that has nothing to do with dignity. Not to mention decades of settled law." Yeah, like, again, whenever Democrats claim that they are interested in settled law, just understand that Democrats would love to enshrine in the Constitution of the United States the concept that men can be women and women can be men. Democrats' favorite judicial decision of the last 20 years is a decision saying that the Constitution mandates that men can marry men. So no, I don't think that you guys give two damns about settled law. It will kill and subjugate women. Kill and subjugate women. Really, will it? So not being able to kill your preborn human being, that's killing and subjugating women. Interesting. Even as a vast majority of Americans think abortion should be legal. What an utter disgrace. So here's the question. If you are so confident the vast majority of Americans think abortion should be legal, why don't you run on it? Do it, seriously. Because guess what? A wide variety of states are going to have a say now. It's amazing how much these people fear democracy if they're on the side of democracy. Meanwhile, the irrepressible, so fresh, so face, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez tweeted, "As we've warned, SCOTUS isn't just coming for abortion. They're coming for the right to privacy Roe rests on, which includes gay marriage and civil rights." No, you're going to have to name a civil rights case that is concerned here with Roe. And as I mentioned, going through the decision, Alito goes out of his way to say that this does not include gay marriage issues. Manchin is blocking Congress codifying Roe. House has seemingly forgotten about Clarence Thomas. These 2 points must change. So she wants to impeach Clarence Thomas now in order to do this. Good luck with that, AOC. Eric Adams in New York, he tweeted out, "New York City knows a woman's right to make her own healthcare decisions is hers and hers alone. This potential assault on their freedom by right-wing extremists cannot stand. We're ready to fight like hell." Well, congratulations, Eric Adams. Your state allows abortion basically up till birth. So you got nothing to say on this one, dude. Abortion will still be freely available in your garbage city. So congratulations to you. Meanwhile, members of the media going absolutely ballistic as well. So you have Jeffrey Toobin, who impregnated his friend's daughter and then tried to pressure her to have an abortion. So he's an authority on abortion when he's not masturbating on Zoom for his colleagues. He has some comments on what the abortion decision means.
There is a lot of evidence. There are many societies, especially in Central and South America, that ban abortion altogether. And the rate of abortion does not go down when abortion is banned. There are just as many abortions, if not more, in societies where abortion is legal. What's different is that women die. And women are horribly mutilated because abortion is conducted in a unsafe way. But the idea of a legal ban on abortion stopping abortion is a myth. Mm-hmm. It does not happen. All it does is drive the process underground and endanger women's lives.
That is a lie. That is a lie. Okay, the baseline notion that women are widely endangered by the making illegal of abortion, it is just not true. It is just not true. The stats do not bear out what he's saying, that thousands, millions of women are going to be condemned to dangerous illegal abortions. According to the Vital Statistics of the United States, Volume 2, Mortality Part A in 1960, there are a grand total, in 1960, when abortion was largely legal across the country, a grand total of 1,579 pregnancy-related deaths, 289 were attributable to abortion in 1960 when it was banned basically across the country. In 1968, that number was 133. According to the CDC, in 1972, the year before Roe, there were 24 deaths from legal abortions and 39 from illegal abortions. This idea that women are dying by the thousands because of back alley coat hanger abortions, it's just not true. Also, when you talk about reducing the rate of abortion, yes, it turns out that when you make things illegal and punishable, the rates of abortion in those states decline. So Jeffrey Toobin just happens to be spouting complete nonsense. Meanwhile, you go Joe Scarborough, who I was under the impression used to be a Republican congressperson on MSNBC, talking about how people are going to conclude that their votes and voices no longer matter if the Supreme Court allows them to vote. Again, this is the most pretzely logic I've ever seen from the left. It's so pretzely. Honest to goodness, it's Fuddruckers pretzels over here. The notion that somehow democracy is undermined by allowing you to vote on the issue is insane. And yet here is Joe Scarborough doing this routine.
What does this story mean for the Supreme Court?
Well, for the Supreme Court, in a word, illegitimacy. The court's always been guided by the law, but it's also been keenly aware that as the only unelected branch of American government, they needed to not appear to be openly contemptuous of public opinion. That would be especially true today, given the GOP's might makes right approach to the sacking of Merrick Garland's nomination or the elevation of Donald Trump's final pick. And yet, a half-century of constitutional rights supported by over 70% of Americans. Let me underline that again, because people lying to you on other channels will never say this. Over 70% of Americans support that constitutional right. It'll be swept away by the presidents not in this picture, the presidents who were outvoted in each one of those elections over the last 3 decades. Now, Americans will rightly conclude that their voices and their votes no longer matter.
Okay, this guy does not understand what the Supreme Court is supposed to do. It is not the job of the Supreme Court to take into account public opinion. That's what legislatures are for. That's why they're elected branches. It is explicitly the job of the Supreme Court not to take into account public opinion. It is the job of a court. Can you imagine a criminal court in which you took into account public opinion? It wouldn't be a very good criminal court, would it? There's a criminal court. We are trying this person for murder. And yeah, the evidence doesn't show that the person's guilty of murder, but we do have this baying mob outside, so we should probably just, hang the guy. Courts are explicitly designed not to take account of public opinion. But according to Joe Scarborough, they're fundamentally illegitimate if they don't take account of public opinion. And also, the idea is somehow that because George W. Bush and Donald Trump appointed the majority on this court, that somehow the decision is illegitimate. I'm confused. If you're concerned about democracy, shouldn't people vote? People vote on not the court. People vote on the issue. I love the idea that democracy is undermined by people being allowed to vote. It's an amazing statement from the left and demonstrates they don't care about the systems. They don't care about all they want is their way. That's it. That's all they care about. That's all they care about is their way. Meanwhile, Rachel Maddow on MSNBC, she's back for 30 seconds to lament the possibility of a national abortion ban, which from her mouth to God's ears, but it ain't going to happen. Here we go.
This new reporting that Republicans in Washington have been debating and planning on proposing a nationwide abortion ban, a 6-week abortion ban, which is effectively a complete ban on abortion in the United States. And if this ruling if the ultimate ruling from the court is going to look anything like this, and we're going into a midterm season where the Republicans are poised to take the House and the Senate, then, President Biden is still President Biden, and he would presumably veto such a measure. But in the event that we had a Republican president in 2024, that's where we'd be. We'd be at a, South America-style nationwide abortion ban in America.
Okay, she's out of her mind on a political level. I mean, I wish that were true, but it just is not true. If you think that Republicans in charge of Congress and the Senate and the presidency in the absence of Roe are going to pass a nationwide abortion ban, and I'm as pro-life as anybody in America, on a political level, it ain't happening. The best that would happen, the best that you could hope for, is that they would start pushing back national bans on abortion. Right now, the only federal laws that are in place are like partial birth abortion bans. You might see that gradually pushed back to 20 weeks, 16 weeks, maybe even 10 weeks. The idea of a full-scale national federal ban on abortion, the country's just too divided for that. It's not going to happen politically. Okay, but when it comes to the states, that is where the issue is going to be solved. That is where the issue is going to happen. And what that's going to do on a political level, and this is a very good thing, it's going to lead to a continuation of the big sort. There are a lot of people who are worried about the polarization of American society. You know what polarizes American society? When every issue has to be solved top-down. That's what polarizes American society. What polarizes American society on the federal national level is when I feel like my life here in Florida is being controlled by people in California. And when people in California feel like their life is being controlled by people in Florida. When I feel like there's a giant government gun that is pointed at me and my children by people who I don't live near and who don't care about my priorities and who disagree with me, that is a problem. The founders understood this, which is why they created a federalist structure whereby most law was done at the local and state level, not at the federal level. What the Supreme Court is doing is now returning the issue that is the most contentious issue in American life back to the state and local level for regulation, which is where it should be, barring on a constitutional legal level. On a moral level, I'm a believer that there should be a constitutional amendment to protect human life in the womb. But barring that, the system provides for the states and the localities to make these decisions. And the fact that the Supreme Court is now abiding by its own role in interpreting the law rather than just imposing it top down. The fact that the left finds this shocking or upsetting is amazing to me. And again, they keep saying things like, well, the people aren't with it. Well, now we're going to get a chance to find out. But you don't want to find out. That's the point. You liked it when the Supreme Court was doing your priors. You liked it when the Supreme Court was imposing its will top down. Again, the logic here is just insane. I'm reading Twitter, and some of these people... So Ian Bremmer tweeted, I'm conflicted on abortion as someone raised Catholic, anti-death penalty, who doesn't think there's a definitive answer on when human life begins. By the way, there is a definitive answer on when human life begins. It's at conception. There's no other scientific definition of human life beginning than that. He says, I think it should be a woman's decision. It's tragic the Supreme Court is taking that away. They're not taking that away. They're leaving it up to the voters of the particular states. And by the way, the notion that the only choice that matters in a woman's reproductive life is the choice to abort is crazy. That's a crazy lunacy. There are a series of decisions that women make throughout their lives about reproductive choice. When to have sex, when to get married, when to use contraception, when to get pregnant. The baseline idea, by the way, the left is giving away the game when they treat abortion this way. It used to be they treated abortion as sort of an evil that you had to tolerate because there were certain situations in which the baby was malformed or in which somebody was raped or it was an incest case or these are difficult decisions. Now the left just admits it right out. It's a form of contraception for them, which demonstrates the evil. Because if you're using abortion as a form of contraception, that is one of the highest forms of moral evil I can imagine. If you're using abortion as a way to make your life more convenient, this makes you a bad person, definitionally. You're not doing it based on some extenuating circumstance. You're doing it just because it's convenient and you were too lazy to use contraception or because the condom failed or something. That is a serious moral issue with you. The fact that you want that established by the Supreme Court is madness. And it demonstrates disdain for morality, for basic decency, and most of all for the constitutional structure. This was not what the Supreme Court was meant to do. And for all those who say that the Supreme Court's legitimacy has been undermined here, no. If the Supreme Court goes this way, the Supreme Court's legitimacy has been restored because their job is to look at the Constitution's text and its history and to interpret what the words mean. It is not to do your political priors. That's not what the Constitution is meant to do. And them going back to their role would be a welcome sight. You want a restoration of institutions in America and institutional trust? Institutions are supposed to do what they're supposed to do. You're not supposed to have departments of health and human services that cram down puberty blockers on children. You're not supposed to have departments of Homeland Security that open the borders. And you're not supposed to have a Supreme Court of the United States that acts as a super legislature on behalf of Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden to do all of their political priors. You want trust in institutions? Restrict the institutions to doing what the institutions were meant to do. That's what this decision would do. So I'm honestly good for the courage of the people who are voting in favor. No good on John Roberts, who continues to be just a disgrace to his office if he votes as we think he's going to vote in this case. And whoever leaked this decision should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, because it is a fulsome attempt to undermine the rule of law by leveraging threats and imprecations against sitting Supreme Court justices. Who's got two thumbs and wants you to like and subscribe?